Welcome to AEW Change the World Episode 1, and this first episode is going to start in a way that I didn't expect it to, nor one that I hope to again in the future. Change is in the title, but before we change the world, we've had to change the card. Between putting the match card together and reaching the date of the show, Kota Ibushi was injured working for New Japan Pro Wrestling. As a result, we've had to pull him from Double or Nothing. Therefore, the match between Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks and Kota Ibushi and the Lucha Bros has now become a straightforward tag team match between the two established teams. With Cody as the spare man, he'll be issuing an open challenge at Double or Nothing. With that out of the way, let's get on with the show. Here we are at AEW Double or Nothing, just before I run the first show in All Elite Wrestling history. For those interested, there'll be a link in the description to a document that will contain the format to this show, so it'll have road agents, referees and other notes that I've made, as well as match timings, things like that. So if anything feels glossed over, there will be more information available there. With that said, let's run the show. The show begins with a video package looking at the road to Double or Nothing. It's been a long time coming, but the first event is finally upon us. Alex Marvez and Excalibur then introduce the show to the pay-per-view audience, putting over the fact that we're inside the MGM Grand Garden Arena. As they talk about the changes that have had to be made to the card, Don Callis comes in and takes the headset off Alex Marvez. He says that another change has been made, Marvez is out, and the golden announcer is in. On top of that, he'll have a golden announcement later in the evening. So we've got cold feet on Marvez in the colour commentary position, so we've brought Don Callis in. I think that as far as the roster that we've put together, there's no two better people to call the action than Excalibur and Don Callis. For the first in-ring segment of Double or Nothing, Cody comes out. We wanted one of the founders just to cut a promo, putting over the journey that they've been on. He then talks about the Elite and the future of the group now they're in AEW. He then puts over another AEW signing, somebody he's had his eye on, a man he considers a protege and moreover a friend, MJF. MJF makes his entrance and tells Cody how grateful he is of the support he's received. Cody says there's nobody better to represent the future of the business than MJF. He puts over the achievements of MJF at such a young age, something which he relates to. As a result, he is the perfect guy to be in the first ever All Elite Wrestling match. Now this segment was just to establish the Cody and MJF dynamic. Going into the first match, where Sonny Kiss is beaten by MJF with a hammerlock DDT, the match is just designed to put over the two personalities, very different people, very different characters, but both we see as the future of the company. Both are going to be long-term guys, so with the main event as used later up in the night, we thought it'd be good to give two youngsters the honour of being the first people in an AEW match ever. Cody then returns to the ring after the match, raising MJF's hand. He says that the Elite have lost a dear member recently and that opens up space in the group. He says that he sees elite level talent in MJF. Cody appears ready to offer MJF a place, saying he's been given permission by the other guys to recruit new members. As Cody appears ready to announce this, his microphone is cut off. Cody's confused. He asks somebody at ringside what the hell's going on, but then tells MJF, "We'll seal the deal in the back, let's not worry about this." The commentators then send over to an interview in the back with the Young Bucks. They're talking about their match later in the evening, but they're cut off when Cody returns to the locker room. He's saying what the hell's going on, our first night and stuff like this is happening. The Young Bucks tell him not to worry about that because they've got matches to focus on. This is setting up the presentation style that we want to put together, which is that it's realistic. If there's a camera on someone, they know about it. It's not going to be like catching, scheming and plotting backstage. Match number 2 is the showcase of the OWE guys, Shima, El Lindaman and T-Hawk against SoCal Uncensored. That's why they're kept strong in the finish when SoCal Uncensored win, Frankie Kazarian pinning El Lindaman with a roll-up and a handful of tights. The OWE guys aren't going to be here full time, whereas SoCal Uncensored are, so I didn't really want to put the Japanese guys over, but nonetheless, we will be using them in the future, so we don't want them looking weak. After the match, SoCal Uncensored celebrate. We then get an announcement from the commentators. They put over the next show, AEW Change the World in Jacksonville, Florida. Brandy Rhodes then comes to the ring and introduces the first women's match in AEW history. She's reprising her old role as guest ring announcer. Penelope Ford and Joey Janelle come out. Joey puts over his injury, says he will be back for MJF. For now, he's trying out valeting. Ford then claims to be the first woman signed to AEW, not Britt Baker, and she wants to prove that she's better than Baker tonight. In the third match, Britt Baker goes over Penelope Ford. It's a fairly decisive victory for Britt Baker. She's better than Penelope Ford throughout the match and makes her submit to the crossface. After the match, she celebrates. It's then an interview with Pac, who he establishes a no-nonsense, grumpy character. He's dismissive of questions about his confrontation with Paige and says that he's going to be the first AEW champion and there's nothing anybody, especially Hangman, can do about that. A showcase of a potential junior division here. Jimmy Havoc, Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara and Takehiro Yamamura. Sammy Guevara picks up the win, pinning Yamamura. After the match, he is interviewed and says that he will face anybody at the Jacksonville show because he's Mr. Money's Worth and his match is always the best match on the card. Don Callis and Excalibur then do a commentary interlude talking about what we've seen so far. Don then admits that there is a business reason for him being here tonight. He announced a partnership between Impact Wrestling and All Elite Wrestling, which will allow certain talents to be shared between the companies. He confirms there'll be an Impact presence at the next AEW show. This then turns attention towards Pac and Hangman Page, which is up next. Pac goes over Hangman Page with a Black Arrow, a competitive match. Both men come out looking like future World Championship contenders, but Pac has got too much on the night. After the match, Pac takes a microphone, will give him some time to establish his character, as well as to put over that he has his eye on the main event, whether it's Chris Jericho or Kenny Omega. Pac wants the winner. This leads into an interview with Chris Jericho. He is asked about Pac's words, but he brushes them off. He's focused on Kenny Omega in the main event. We get the unhinged Chris Jericho that we're used to seeing in recent months, with Marvez putting over the intimidation factor of this Chris Jericho. Kylie Ray v Nyla Rose. This is your underdog v monster match with an added twist. After Nyla Rose dominates much of the match, she goes to the top rope and pulls out a flip senton. For those who haven't seen it before, that'll be a huge surprise and hopefully get a big pop for the ending of the match. Nyla Rose then stands tall. An F rating suggesting otherwise, but she's won her first match in AEW. As the commentators then turn their attention to the Lucha Bros v the Young Bucks match and talk about the history between them, Chuck Taylor and Trent show up in their Scott Hall double denim. Don and Excalibur invite the tag team to speak and they take Don Callis' headset. They're watching the tag team match because the best friends aren't here to play. Check the adjective. They're obviously funnier and more creative than me, so we're going to just let them go out and get over their tongue-in-cheek characters ahead of what is a very serious match. The Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros, one of the two matches that really could have main evented this show. Rey Fenix, the weak link, I struggle to believe. Nonetheless, he is the one who gets pinned when the Young Bucks hit the Meltzer driver to him. A 16-minute match, competitive, just wanted everybody to go out and do everything they could and fit it into that 16 minutes. However, the length of the match allows rematches in the future, which could be longer and even more mind-blowing. Moving on from that Steal the Show match, which was by far the best of the night so far, the Young Bucks, despite their issues, offer a handshake to the Lucha Bros. The Lucha Bros turn down the handshake, instead deciding to roll out the ring and up the ramp. With Nick and Matt still in the ring, Cody comes down to join them. He congratulates them on an impressive debut, saying that it's already been a great night for the founding fathers of AEW and it's about to get even better. The Bucks and Cody hug. Before Cody continues his promo, he says that while the same can't be said for Kota Ibushi, there was no way he was missing the first event in AEW history. He then turns his attention to what he was doing earlier, offering MJF a place in the Elite, but he's cut off again by the Young Bucks. They tell him not to rush anything. Us and the guys have been talking. We really need to discuss that. Cody's not expecting that, but moves on to his open challenge that is issued to anybody in the world. He puts himself over for taking the challenge despite not being 100%, but when the lights go down, Cody is not happy with the name that he sees. The villain Marty Scurll, the man who Cody has tried to replace in the Elite, is his opponent at AEW Double or Nothing. Marty has his umbrella in his hand as he comes to the ring. As Cody comes to go at him as the bell rings, Marty opens his umbrella. He throws the umbrella to Cody, who turns around to throw it out of the ring. As he does this, Marty rolls Cody up for the 1, 2, 3. A shocking victory in 1 minute 17. Cody's big night, Cody's big show, and he has been humiliated by the man who he tried to replace with MJF in the Elite. Cody Rhodes is losing his mind after the match as Marty Scurll celebrates his victory. Marty goes to the top rope. As he's celebrating, Cody pulls him down and he confronts him. Scurll laughs in Cody Rhodes' face. The Young Bucks try to calm Cody down, but they also can't help but see the funny side. Cody brought back down to earth by the man who he tried to kick out of the Elite. Cody demands that the Bucks leave with him, but they stay in the ring and raise Marty's hand at the end of the match. A video package is then shown to promote Aja Kong, although by the rating again, it appears to do more harm than good. It's then the showcase of Aja Kong and Yuka Sakazaki. It's again a monster and underdog match, Yuka doing a little bit better than Kylie Ray did earlier in the night, but nonetheless, Aja Kong comes out victorious. The veteran stands tall after her win. There's then another video package promoting the next event in Jacksonville, AEW Change the World. Don Callis promotes the Impact presence at Change the World before talking about his friendship with both men in the main event. He has the best insight of anybody and he wants to share it in this main event. Excalibur says that may be true, but there'll be a third man in the booth for the main event. Excalibur introduces Jim Ross, who will make his way to the commentary position to join them for the main event of Double or Nothing. There'll then be a video package looking at the long rivalry between Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. The only footage that we really have is from All In, where Jericho attacked Kenny Omega while dressed as a Pentagon mask. We'll also see the incident from that second press conference, as well as everything that's gone on between them since the match was announced until the night of Double or Nothing. And here it is, the main event of Double or Nothing. We tried to have a long, epic, slow build match. We wanted it to really feel like a main event match. But in the end, Kenny Omega defeats Chris Jericho with the one-winged angel square in the middle of the ring. It says there that the match was let down by the announcing and the colour commentary, but the two performances from Jericho and Kenny Omega, that's a lot of positives to take from it, and basically says that they were the right decision because those were the two best performances on the card on the night. After the match, Kenny Omega sells just how much Chris Jericho put him through, but is able to stand tall in the ring. AEW's first event, Double or Nothing, goes off the air with Kenny Omega stood tall. It's goodbye and good night from Kenny Omega, and it's goodbye and good night from Double or Nothing. And there it is, AEW's first event in the bag. I'm happy with the C+. It's increased our popularity in most of the regions we were shown in. One negative note, Takehiro Yamamura was slightly overused, but we'll take that going ahead to AEW Change the World.